Hey, it's Steve Jolly with the Home Buying Skills channel, and on today's show we're going to talk about how to avoid those home buying mistakes and the 7 errors most first-time home buyers often make. Are you ready to get started? Let's get to business. Now, the first mistake home buyers often make is not working with an agent. Maybe they read that in a book or a friend told them that's what they should do, but that will often lead you down a path of not being successful. And that's because you're going to be at a huge information disadvantage. You're not going to have information on the historical pricing in the area, information about the neighborhood, what's been happening in the community, all those things that come together and create the value of the home and what you're willing to pay for it. You're not going to have access to that information, and it's going to either slow you down while you're gathering it, or you're going to make a mistake and not offer enough or offer way too much for the home. Information is key in this business, especially in a market as moving as fast as ours. So you need that information from an experienced agent that's worked in that area, that's sold homes in that area, that knows what they're doing, so they can make you as successful as possible in the shortest amount of time. And time is important. It's because when you move slow is when you're going to lose out on a home. There are buyers ready to buy a home. They put in the homework. They put in the preparation. They've done everything they need to do except write an offer. And they're ready to go. And you are 10 steps behind. You'll never catch up and you'll lose out on that house. And a subset of that is working with the wrong agent. Some folks decide they want to work with the listing agent, and maybe they read that that was the best thing to do in one of those real estate, no money down, get rich scheme books, because that's what they often teach. Work with the listing agent. It's a terrible idea. For one, the listing agent already has the best interest of the seller in mind. And so when it comes down between you and the seller, who do you think he's going to support? Who do you think he's going to back? Who do you think that listing agent is going to be loyal to? Well, it's not going to be to you. It's going to be to the seller that's paying him a commission. In addition to the listing agent, it's also not always a great idea to work with a friend or family member, especially if they're new or if they're not experienced in the type of home that you want to buy or the area that you want to buy. This is the most expensive purchase you'll ever make in your lifetime, and it needs to be done with the best expert you can find. I know it's great to have loyalty to your friends and family, and I really appreciate it when they have loyalty to me, but I want to make sure I'm the best person that can serve their needs when it comes time for them to buy a home. The second mistake people often make is not getting pre-approved, especially early on in the process. Now, getting a real pre-approval is a time-consuming process. It's not something that happens in 15 minutes or an hour. And because of that, you need to have that done as early in the process as possible. During that pre-approval process, the loan officer is going to collect documents from you, like check stubs, tax records, bank statements, things like that show the assets, that show your job, your income, and all that information they need to decide whether you meet the requirements for a loan. And if you wait to the very last minute to do that, there are going to be other people that are ready to go that'll get in line in front of you, and they will win. Now, there's several different levels of pre-approval letters. The lowest level is a pre-qualification letter. You simply pick up the phone, you call loan officer, he asks you a few questions, and 15 minutes later, he emails you a pre-approval letter in the mail, or a pre-qualification letter. That is not what you want to do in this market. The second step is a pre-approval letter. Well, they spend a few more minutes with you, they collect a couple of documents, they ask a few more questions, and then they give you what's called a pre-approval letter, but it still has a lot of contingencies. It still has a lot of conditions it's based on that they have to verify before they can prove that you're eligible to get a loan. The highest level of pre-approval is a fully underwritten pre-approval letter. And that's where the lender has asked you for all those documents. You've submitted every one, and even the ones they've asked you for after the fact. They've had an underwriter comb through all those documents and make sure that you meet all the requirements for a pre-approval letter before you write that first offer on a home, before you even walk in the first home to look at. And that way you're ready from day one to write an offer, because you might need to do that on the first day that you look at a home. There are very few homes on the market right now. If you said, Steve, I want to look at a certain size of property with a certain number of bedrooms and bathrooms in this city, I might have a handful of properties to show you, and some of those will probably already be under contract. It's a tough market out there. That pre-approval is necessary for your success. And in addition to getting pre-approved, it's also a great idea to have a conversation with your agent and your lender at the same time to put together a plan for you to be successful in this crazy market. And the third mistake that buyers often make when buying a home is not having a game plan. They haven't talked to a lender, they haven't talked to a realtor, they've gone out and looked at a few homes, they found one they want, and they're ready psychologically to pull the trigger, but all the ducks in a row that they should have lined up are not ready to go. And that's a big mistake. Your lender and your agent are your closest partners when buying a home. You need to lean on them through this process. You need to ask them for a list of solutions. What can I do? What are my options to get me from where I am today to where I want to be? How can I get in this house? You tell me what I should do, and then I'll decide as a buyer what makes best sense for me and my family. And that's how you should approach it. Also, it's a great idea to start with the end in mind and work backwards. That way you can have a step-by-step plan of how you're going to achieve your goals from the very beginning to the end, instead of taking one step and then wondering, what do I do next? That's the worst feeling in the world. That will lead you to slowing down the process. That'll lead you to being less successful. So keep moving forward with that game plan. Start with the end in mind. And while you're in the middle of the process, think 2 or 3 steps ahead. If you are negotiating on an offer, maybe you want to call ahead to your home inspector and make sure he has time to do it next week when you need him to be there for the home inspection. If you don't plan ahead, you're going to get caught behind and you'll end up on the losing side in this tough market. The fourth mistake home buyers often make is not doing your homework. And this homework is at multiple different levels, but you want to start very wide and then move in slowly. And start with location. That's a great place to start. Especially if you're in a new city, drive around the area, familiarize yourself with it, find out the area or areas that you'd be interested in living in, and then dive deeper into those areas. Talk to people that live there, people that work there, talk to the police, talk to anybody that you can, the schools, to find out the information. Ask those questions that are near and dear to your heart so you can get the answers you're seeking in order to make the best decision for you and your family. Once you have the location set, then you can start focusing on maybe a specific neighborhood or a specific type of home that you're focusing on. And the more focused you can be, the better your agent can be at trying to find something that's not obvious. Maybe an off-market deal, maybe something he's learned about in networking that can help you become more successful and move into that home earlier. And then while you're visiting the home, while you're taking a tour of the home, learn as much as you can about it during the visit and prior to the visit. And that's doing things like reading over the property condition disclosure, reading over the HOA bylaws and rules and regulations, taking a look at the pictures, making notes as you're walking through the home, taking additional pictures of the home while you're going through there, finding out the age of the appliances and the major systems in the home, so that when it comes time to write that offer, you have a good idea of the value of the property you're writing it on and can make the best offer possible as quickly as possible. The more that you can do on the front end, the less you have to do when it comes time to write that offer, and you can get your offer in faster and smarter. Now, the fifth mistake home buyers often make, especially in this market, is not adjusting their expectations when they discover that what they really want is unattainable. And too many times, buyers will decide, well, if I can't get what I want now, then I'm just going to keep on renting. And I'll tell you what, in this market, that is a huge mistake, because prices are rising 2% a month, or about 24% a year right now. And they've been doing that for a year. And that's more money than the average person can save. That's more money than you'll be able to make up the difference later on down the road. So it's much better to participate in the market, adjust your expectations, maybe not buy the home that you really want, but buy the next best thing, stay in this market, ride the wave of home appreciation. And when it comes time where you really find your dream home, you'll be in a better position to afford it and make that move. And the truth is, No one, and I mean absolutely no one, gets everything they want in a home. And in this market, you're lucky to get 80% of what you want. You're lucky if you only need to fix 10% and that there's 10% that's unfixable that you're just going to have to live with. If you find that in a home, you need to jump on it as quickly as possible because there's not that many homes like that for you in today's market. So one of the things you have to do is make a list of the must-haves. What do you have to have in your home and prioritize them? And then when it comes time to decide which home you want to write an offer on, you can see which of those homes match up to your list the most. And also write a list of the deal killers, things that if they show up in a home, you're going to cross it out no matter what. That'll make your decision better and easier. Now, the sixth problem home buyers often make is moving too slow. And that's what we've talked about on the previous 5 steps. All these things we've talked about up until this point will help you move faster. Speed, success, and money all go together. They're attracted to each other. The faster you can move, the more successful you will be in buying a home. One other thing you want to do is make sure your agent is dedicated to moving fast too. You don't want to be ready to move fast and you call your agent and says, hey, there's a new listing on the market. I want to go see it this afternoon. If he's not going to be able or she's not going to be able to do that for you, you want somebody that can be there quickly, take care of that for you so you can be successful. Your agent has to be a partner in this as well as you. If either one of you are slowing the other one down, it's going to cause a problem. The very last mistake, and probably the most important one, is not considering the seller's point of view. While you're touring through the house, look for problems that you can solve for the seller. That's the number one thing that you can do as a buyer. Look for problems that you can solve. What can I do that can make this seller's life easier? They may not always be obvious, but if you start thinking that way as you're walking through properties, things will come to mind that can help you win the offer. Because it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about terms. I've seen sellers decide to take less money because they got more convenience or more assurances from the buyers. So like I said, it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about other things, and making people feel safe, secure, and at ease is priceless in today's world. Always make sure your agent inquires about problems they can solve for the seller. What can I do in this offer that the seller is going to appreciate? What problems are they looking to solve in selling their home? What would be a perfect offer in the eyes of the seller? These are questions your agent should be asking if they want to write an offer that leads to success. Now just keep this in mind. Selling a home, just like buying, is very, very stressful. And if you can make it easy for the seller, that's incredibly hard to beat in an offer.